Hello everyone, welcome to this short presentation about the 2023 achievements. We did a lot, so I'm trying to keep it compact, but yeah, we did a lot this year. And the first thing that I want to say is that we did 11 releases, so nearly one every month. And I think the biggest achievement of this year was really the Switch. I will speak about it in a few. But also the move to Unreal Engine 5. And remember that our team is mostly made by myself. There are a few people that are helping here and there, but let's say in terms of permanent members, I would say the second notable person is really Wadjet, that is working on the game master side and is hosting event every week. So thank you a lot on that. In terms of other developers, in the last few years, we have been a bit low on the team. So if anyone wants to join and help, please do, because we, to go faster, we need more people. But yeah, but nonetheless, we did all these releases. And remember that they are done on Windows, Linux, and Mac. So it is a list of all the major features. So the first thing that we did at the beginning of the year was that we completely terraformed the Emerald Lake. And we added the underwater vegetation, the bubbles, some fishes. You can see some fishing going around. Actually, the fishes are following spline, so they are not really smart. They just move in a specific area. But I think it's a nice addition. And also, in the sea, the Emerald Lake, which is to the west of the main city, you have to walk quite a bit to reach it, but then you can plunge in and swim. There is also an underwater treasure chest that you can find. There is some goods in it, so maybe go and try to find it. Another thing that we added were the board minigames. This was a feature that was already available in the legacy version of PlaneShift, but we never ported it to Unreal, and so yep, now it's done. I found a few bugs just the other day, so in the next release this is going to get a bit more solid and robust. But in 23 we did that. Another one is the positional voice chat. It's not used much today by the players for what I see, but I think maybe used more in the future. And if you can enable it under settings, and by default is disabled, but you have some pretty nice settings here, because you can actually filter to receive only or to send and receive. So you may be in listening only mode, and also you can choose who you are receiving from. So like if you are receiving from GMs only or also from players, right? So obviously receiving from players is always a bit risky, because maybe there's people that may annoy you or say inappropriate stuff, and so you can keep it GM only if you want, so that if during an event run by a game master they are using voice, you can actually hear it. Then I think it was around March, after 4 years of work on the new Unreal Engine version, we reached a very historical moment. And I think it's an historical moment not only for me and for the people that are still helping here and there, but it's an historical moment for everyone that worked on this project in the last 20 plus years, because we finally managed to actually upgrade the version of PlaneShift permanently to Unreal Engine. And I mean, it's hard for me to express the amount of work that this required, right? So consider the old game at about 1 million lines of code, right? All included with the plugins and stuff, excluding the 3D engine, which was like a separate code base. So translating that into Unreal, and the result is about 200,000 lines of code in Unreal, plus about 600 or 550 blueprints, right? I cannot really give you the complexity of the blueprint because there is no tool that is telling you how many nodes are in there. But yeah, obviously a lot of the client has been migrated to blueprints, and and the engine itself allowed to reduce drastically the source code, right? Because there is a lot of stuff that is just done by the engine, by the core engine, without the need to redo it, right? For example, in the old game, we basically made all the movement of the character, all the animation of the character manually, right? But now, obviously, Unreal Engine is managing that. So all is ported. There is a lot of new stuff. The old legacy game actually went down and has been shut down, but the new game is pretty much legacy, with new areas, with new features, with a new engine. So I think we didn't lose anything. I mean, there was a bit emotional for everyone when he switched it off, but it's still the same game, and all the characters are in and such. So after that, and we didn't do it at the same time by purpose, because doing a full switch plus the Unreal Engine migration, it was too risky. So a few months after the switch, we actually did the Unreal Engine 5.1 migration from Unreal Engine 4. And this has been another big switch. In theory, is advertised as easy, right? Like you can do it just with few clicks, but in reality it was not. There was a lot of deprecated code that had to change, and the word partition, word composition took me a bit to really realize what to do, and difference in lighting and other stuff. So it was not that easy actually to bring it to 5, but it was relatively okay. So it was fine. So it took a few weeks and it was done, right? And also we had to double check that it was working on all the 3 platforms that we are supporting. So now we are still on 5.1.1. I'm planning to move to the 5.3 in the near future. Let's see. But the next one that we did was musical instruments. This was already available in the old game, and not in Unreal. So actually, when I re-implemented this feature, I decided to change the way it works, because in the old game we actually had an editor in game that where you can put the notes and the alterations and everything, and the keys and but it was too complex. I mean, it was a beautiful piece of software, I have to say, but it was a bit too complex to maintain and not really extendable. Plus it was a bit tedious to actually create a song in the game, note by note. So what I decided to do is to just support the MIDI format. You have plenty of software like MuseScore that are open source and you can use to create a score, and you can now import MIDI, meaning also that you can like play on a keyboard if you want, and then export to MIDI and then play it in the game, right? So I think this feature may be used more in the future, right? And I think I will expand it. But up to now, we are already supporting different instruments. There is a pan flute, there is a normal flute, there is a tambourine, there is a lira, there is a lute and such, and each one has different sound samples. And actually, we managed to implement it thanks to Unreal Engine 5 in this case, because we used Unreal Engine 5 meta sounds to implement it, which is a feature that is basically a new sound system of Unreal Engine that is available on 5 release, right? And it was not available before. So this is why also I waited to port this system, because meta sound was really helping us on that. Another thing that we did, we basically changed the way the vegetation and harvesting works. Is more simplified, so you can just right click on things and you can harvest. In the past there were still some chat commands and it was really not user friendly, so now I think that right click on anything is still the way to go. And we redistributed the resources across the new maps, because the old legacy is about 1/5 of the land that we have today, and so I try to use better the new land Plus, also introduce the ability to harvest wood directly from the trees. Again, it's just a right click. It's not all the trees, it's just some, because depends on the type of wood, right? But it was another great addition, I think. 2 new areas added in 23. The stone labyrinth just after the character creation, because we wanted to have a more seamless storyline from the home worlds to the in-game world, and to have a smoother transition. Smoother transition, I would say, in terms of story, not in terms of gameplay. I know that the stone labyrinths and the Draken Plane are a bit annoying to some of the people, I understand that, but they will improve in the future. But they were really needed to explain better how your character arrived into the world, and I really wanted them. So now they are there. This also gave us the possibility to introduce Xiosia as a god. It's basically kind of Mother Nature. It's a god of nature. And she's speaking to you through these stone tablets that you find in the labyrinth. Is giving you few hints. I would say a bit high level, but anyway, few hints on the storyline. And then there are these 2 towers which are part of an outpost where we have the initial quest. And it's very good to have again the initial quest, because they teach you how to craft, they teach you how to cast spells. They teach you a bit about the glyphs and other than trading and few other things. So, and they provide you already some basic material. So I think it's a smoother path into the game for a new player. We added another area, which was the observatory. Our world is, I would say, very interesting from the geography point of view, because actually we are inside a giant cave, and we have this azure crystal at the top that is giving light and life to everything inside this giant huge cave. And so the people, the inhabitants, really are interested into this crystal, into this sun in quotes, and so they built an observatory to actually study it. And there is a giant telescope inside the observatory that they use to look at the crystal. So we added this new area, new NPC, not new quest yet, but probably in the future. We updated the tribe system, which I think it should be a big part of our future, because tribes are very fun. I mean, seeing this NPC build a village is very fun. So now I fixed in 23 the building of the houses and the reproduction, so they can actually reproduce, as you can see in the screenshot. And sometimes they reproduce a bit too much, but I can fix that. And with this building of houses, I also introduced now the fact that you can attack items, in this case buildings. So you can attack their buildings, destroy their buildings, and they will rebuild them, right? So the idea in the future is that tribes will be more and more camping, let's say, mines and resources, and there will be a battle with the players, right, for the control of those resources. Now, we don't have it yet, but this is kind of the idea for the future, to have more of an interaction on the resources that you find in the world, where NPC may try to stop you harvesting and vice versa, right? So we also added magical trails. Magical trails are just a way to make your weapon looks a bit cooler. They don't really change the stats or anything of the weapons. Actually, they are based on the enchantment that are present on the weapon. So the trails are divided actually in 3 different tiers: tier 1, 2, and 3. And at tier 1, you get a very light, soft effect, so it's not really so evident. At tier 2, a bit more, you may get maybe 2 colors, a bit of shininess. And tier 3, which is the most rare, not necessarily the most powerful, but I would say the most rare, and in some cases is 1-to-1 with power, but not always. You get, trails like the one that you see here in the screenshot, which are way more evident, and visual. Another thing that we added are the faction aligned merchants. So now when you buy or sell from a merchant, you may see some symbols. The symbol is the symbol of the faction, in this case the conclave of the glyphs, which is one of the gods faction. And what this symbol is saying is basically you cannot buy the bond glyph because you don't have enough reputation in that particular faction, right? So basically merchants can have like 2 or 3 or more tiers of items that they sell based on the reputation that the player have with that particular faction. To gain the reputation, you can do quest, and so this is a good, progression system. Kind of is another way to progress into the game. So getting access to all the items the NPC have. At the moment, we didn't put too many of those in game, so the system from the coding point of view and capability is there, but there are not a lot of NPC that are supporting this yet. At this point, it's just a matter of adding new data, right? So it should be fairly easy. I hope someone can help me on that, but yeah. And also you get, as you can see here at the bottom, different prices, which can be positive or negative, right? So if you have a very good reputation, they will basically discount some items up to 20%. And so you can buy them at lower prices. We also improved combat. This was a bit more recent, let's say in the last few months. So at the end of 23, so we added 2 more animations for the melee attacks. We added left hand and the so now you can actually see better if you're attacking left or right. Finally, I would say. And also we added the ability to use the shield as a defense. So if you have a shield equipped on your left hand and you press the right mouse button, you will see your character taking this pose, right? Like a defensive stance. And actually the shield will give you bonuses in defending incoming attacks. And you can time it, right, based on the enemy attacks. And so I hope that this makes the combat a bit more interesting and interactive, right? So that you may have more fun with it. These were all the major features that we added in 2023. I think there was a lot, considering it is a project that is done on the spare time, right? On our spare time. And but there were other minor ones, so let's say other features that I think are still interesting to mention. So we added global chat. That was not present in a real engine. To me, global chat is something that I like and dislike at the same time, because is very in character disruptive, right? So the fact that you can speak to anyone in the game at any distance is something that I really dislike. But at the same time, if you don't give a way to players to actually organize themselves, like, hey, come to the plaza because we need to do this and that, or hey, let's organize a tournament on this and that, right? So if you don't allow that, it's very hard to build a community, right? So it's a kind of a compromise, and at the end I decided to put it back into the game, and I see people using it a lot. Obviously, my suggestion will be use it as little as possible, only when you need, and for the rest just use the main chat and stay in character, because at the end this is a role-playing game, right? Another fine feature is the help channel that actually is connected to Discord. So you'll see a screenshot here at the bottom, so where people can actually speak in game, and we see it in Discord. So if there is no game master connected to the game, you may check the Discord channel, and if someone needs help, the GM can just connect and help, which is I think is pretty good. Plus, yes, we did really hundreds of fixes, map changes, bug. I mean, the server is fairly stable these days. It's still crashing sometimes, but I think the next patch will cover 2 pretty big crashes that we are having kind of regularly, right? But I would say it's fairly stable. So maybe it doesn't crash for a few weeks, right? And then in one day it crashes 2 or 3 times. But that is kind of the frequency, right? It's not that it's crashing every hour or every day. So it's fairly stable. You can play it. So yeah, that's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to do a shout out for our Patreons that are supporting the project. I mean, your contributions are really meaningful to me, because it really shows that you want, this game to progress as much as I want, and so yeah, let's say we are partner on that, right? So and it's very nice. We have other supporters, like we have people that are donating with PayPal, or are like helping with subscription. They are subscribing on Twitch, and we have a lot of people that have been testing the game, and really their work, right? Their work. I don't want to name them, but you know who you are, right? So I don't want to name, because I don't want to leave anyone out. But there are 4 or 5 people, and you can see it from the bug tracker just looking at the list, right? That are very active in testing, and not only testing but also reporting the bugs, which is to me extremely helpful, because I can just go to the bug tracker, pick one and fix it, right? Instead of trying to figure out what is wrong with the game and test it myself. We will take an infinite amount of time, and will basically slow down the whole development. So really thanks to the testers and to the people that want to test the game and submit the bugs in the bug report website. Also verify the existing bugs. And thanks also to all the players and all the people that are engaging. There are a lot of people that are part of our regular streams, and they chat, they interact, and they basically build the community, right? So I think it's been a great year for PlaneShift. Again, it remains a hobby, right? So, but I think it's bringing a lot of results at the end, and a lot of things done, right? And I think that 24 will be also a strong year. There is a lot coming. A few things I already did but didn't release yet will be released in the next few days or weeks, like texture improvements and improvement to crafting, like to make it really simpler. I want more interaction with the tribes. In general, more interaction with the world, more puzzles, more dungeons, right? More things to do in the game, a better economy, better guild house, better faction houses as well. So there is a lot in my mind that I want to do, and yeah, we will see what happens in 24. So thank you everyone, a happy new year, and yeah, see you in game. Bye bye.